Hello, everybody. Welcome. Tonight is Tuesday, August 8th. This is the Robot Builders Night Virtual. You're with the Dallas Personal Robotics Group and locations far and hither and yon. So we are going to do our usual and go around the table, talk about robot-y things primarily. We're sharing projects and raising questions. So with that, if you're watching this YouTube, know that anybody's welcome to join. We meet generally every Tuesday night online, sometimes in person on Saturdays, but just follow DPRG.org and you can catch up with our latest meetings. So a queue that we have so far is Ted, Harold, Michael, Ray, Doug, John K., and then open mic. So I'll put that into the chat. And Ted, we'll pass it along to you. How's it been going there?
All right. Yeah, so I have a little update on this board, which is, it has a ESP32, a little LCD screen, and a, what is it, DW1000, which is basically a time of flight distance measuring unit. And so what you do is you take basically two of these or more and set up some of them as anchor points and some as, and this one as a rover. And then you do some trigonometry and you can find your location. So I set up two in my backyard as anchors and the third one as a rover, and did some testing. And after fiddling around with some trigonometry, high school trig, and figuring out how to get rid of divide by zero errors, because when it's like plus or minus half a foot, and so you can get in these situations where the trig doesn't quite work because of errors. But yeah, so I still need to do some programming. You can program it in Arduino because it's an ESP32. But yeah, I need to set up some stuff to make it a little easier to use. And I did have one problem where I put in the wrong distance. Well, I put in one distance for the baseline measurement, and then I set them up at a different distance, which really blew up my... So that was a lesson learned. If you're going to tell it the baseline's 50 feet, the baseline should probably be 50 feet. Otherwise, you'll get really strange readings. But yeah, just testing it out, it seems to be, it'll bounce around within about 1 foot radius, but everything works. If you only have two anchors, though, there's one direction it's ambiguous. It doesn't know which side of the line it's on because both sides give the same results. But other than that, works well. It is only two-dimensional, so my backyard's kind of on a slope. So I had that issue where it would measure up the slope instead of across it. But if you figure that out, it seemed to work fairly well. So I'm happy with that. I'll do some more testing and do some logging and get some comparisons with GPS.
Did you say what kind of range you could get out of it? How far away you can get from the anchors?
I think it said 200. Was it 200 meters line of sight? Is what the spec is. And it seems to do fairly well. I didn't get out anywhere near that far. And if you go, like if you bring one inside your house and the other two are outside, they'll start dropping out. But
Ted, this is Jim in Calgary.
Hey, Jim.
Do you have a GitHub?
Yes.
Could you post it in the messages, please?
Yeah, I don't have any of that particular code in my GitHub. Let's see. Yeah, I'll go look up my GitHub. I have some other stuff there you might be interested in.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And then I had one more thing, so I'll present that.
Ted, did you use the law of cosines or something like that? Or?
Yeah, I used the law of cosines for one dimension and then just did A squared plus b squared equals c squared for the other dimension. Yeah, so let's see, here is, so you seeing that? This was the full-size Jeep that a group of us did for the SparkFun ABC back in 2014. I thought I'd show it since Kareem was talking about his vehicle, and we had some similar issues. We also used a person sitting in the driver's seat to apply the brake if necessary, and we also had a servo on the brake to push it down if anything lost power. And yeah, this one just ran at idle also. So.
Ours is a little different. We actually have bungees always pulling the. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
We have bungees always pulling the brake down.
Oh,
right?
okay.
And so the motor actually is the thing that lifts the brake out. So if the motor fails, the bungees take over and they'll just back drive it.
Yeah, this one, there was some pucker factor as the car drove towards the fence with a bunch of people standing on the
Yeah,
other
multiple
side.
people inside.
Yeah. So
and,
we had
and targets on the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a you can see there's a motor hooked up to a chain drive on the steering wheel there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's about to start here, maybe.
Yeah, those had to be pretty powerful motors to twist steering wheels and stuff like that.
Well, thank God for power assist.
Yeah, it had power assist, so.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So let's see, I think we're about to start here.
Don't most, if not all, cars these days have electrical power assist? They don't use fluid anymore to do all that, so sure you probably get in the middle of that somehow. Or I think you would anyways.
Well, my RV's from the middle of or late 90s, basically.
Yeah, definitely hydraulic then.
It's hydraulic, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a few coming out now that are fly-by-wire, so what could go wrong with that?
Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Here it goes.
Next month, I'm living in.
Wow, that is steering hard.
Yeah. It liked to bang the steering wheel a bit.
Is it following GPS or what is it? Oh,
yeah, GPS.
GPS-defined course?
Well, we had GPS, we had odometry, and we of course had a sensor on the steering wheel to measure the turn. But yeah, we weren't doing anything to avoid those barrels. We just happened to miss them.
Luck goes a long way sometimes.
Yeah.
So just plain GPS, not RTK?
Yeah, just plain GPS.
Wow.
Yeah,
We had
2014.
we had a nice GPS unit with one of those big round antennas.
So was the pucker factor for the people in the vehicle or the pucker factor of the people standing along the fence in front of the vehicle?
I think both.
So is there any vision going on here?
No, there's no vision.
Uh-huh.
It's all
Wow, so just
basically
GPS,
dead
huh?
reckoning.
So how was the odometry hooked up?
Let's see. I was not involved in that. I think maybe someone put some magnets on a wheel and we're measuring it that way with the Hall effect sensor. But yeah, that was the run, and I believe the brakes applied at the end and it stopped itself. So
Okay.
surprisingly, we had a good run. I think the night before there was a bug with the steering sensor, so it would suddenly just steer one direction or the other. Anyways, we got that solved, and let's see, how do I stop presenting? There it is.
And where did you figure out that you could get that thing wrung out, or did you just test it all there and do it ahead of time and finalize it on site?
Yeah. Well, this was in the summer, so we were able to find a school parking lot to do it,
Okay.
and that was mostly empty.
Yeah. Huh. Very cool.
Very cool.
Some kind of shadow of a star for that one, I think.
Yeah, that one's a little dated, but just to show that you can do it.
Yeah, inspirational.
And that's all I had.
Very nice, thank you. I think Harold, we had you in queue next.
Yeah, I'm on queue. I've got a couple of things, nothing major. I've been a hard weekend, so to speak. Apparently, I got the COVID or something. I didn't get tested, but everybody said I had the symptoms. So, but I ain't dead, so I'm pretty good. So, I'm going to start with something not as cool, but something we were all talking about. And I don't know if we can use exactly, but where did I just had it? Where did I go? I was trying to be all professional and all.
Okay, does anybody else hear that electronic buzzing sound in the background?
Yeah,
I do. I hear it.
Went away.
Okay, I want to copy the link. This goes into our chat. I found these folks online because I was looking, because, every now and then we like to calibrate something, as far as magnets and stuff. And I thought that'd be neat. So if you want to pin me up there, you can see it a little better. The chat is the link is in the chat. What these people do is they do no magnetic interference, and they do magnetic field effects. And basically what they do is help you calibrate your stuff. They're an outfit out of Houston. So I know a lot of us sometimes travel that way. And I thought it might be fun if we would call them and see if we happen to be driving by and they're not too terribly busy, that we may get to go by there and check them out and see what's going on. I thought this would be, well, there's offices, but, we don't care about offices. Well, hold on. You're going to let me do other things? No, I don't want to go to you. Thank you. For instance, they got stuff, right? Measure things. Looks like you can measure stuff and they're supposed to be able to set this up to mimic whatever situation you think you're in, to be able to put in your stuff. I'm sure this is pretty high end to mimic whatever environment you're in. So you can check that out for your calibration. I wanted to just alert people, so if you happen to be around Houston, in fact, 14477 Wag Way, Houston, Texas. There's even a phone number right there. In fact, it's called Micro Tesla is the name of the company. Go figure. Like, if we ever could detect anything more than a Micro Tesla, that would be wonderful, I guess.
I'm trying to figure out what kinds of things would be useful to measure or test in this kind of environment.
I don't really know. It looked like a pretty cool environment. A nice, big, wide open area here with lots of things to make whatever kind of, you want to put a bunch of rebar around something, or you want to put a bunch of other stuff around things, see what's going on.
I could see one thing that would be fun if they would go for it is, just take a robot, say somebody's like, I don't know, Scott's or, just some outdoor rover, put it there and let them map out like how far interference from the motors, things like that. It might be fun if they would do it, but I'm sure
Yeah.
they probably charge you.
I'm sure they got to make $1, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, every now and then, I mean, if one of us goes down there, if I go to Houston, I'll certainly look up and see if I have a moment, see where they are, and give them a phone call and say, hey, you know what, I can come by and see stuff. Because I'm part of the DPRG, and I'll throw that big, you know, hammer around because that gets you into all doors.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, but you know, because we're talking about calibration this and calibration that all the time with stuff on this. So I'm like, you know, maybe we get to go see how the pro.
Yeah, we totally have sway.
The renowned DPRG, yeah.
Yeah, especially if you were an ex-officer.
Special robotics and just in the world.
Of legend and lore, there are songs written.
Yeah,
entire ballads.
Entire ballads.
We hail from the before time.
Not just a sonnet, you know, or a haiku. We got a ballad, you know.
Written by ChatGPT.
There you go.
Okay, so the other thing I want to show off is,
if I'm reading that right, non-magnetics means they don't do anything with magnetics. Is that right?
Yeah, it may not be anything with magnetics, but they got a bunch of stuff that looks like it's magnetic. They have a non-magnetic, they said non-magnetic environment thing, right? So there's no magnets around there.
Okay.
But I'm sure if you look in all these pictures, I guarantee you that right there has something to do with magnetism.
I think their primary product is acronyms, because I don't think that they could operate a sentence without at least 2 or 3 acronyms.
Clear sign. It's a money laundering organization for the cartels, right? Yeah.
Okay, I got one more link to show off. And I'll play a little bit of this. This guy went over and there's like, I don't know, 20 some odd vending machines we found. But this was the coolest. This is one of the coolest ones I found. There's some robotic ones that make your own robotic, will make you a robotic hamburger, pizza and cut it and do all that kind of stuff. And they got some gyrating around doing some other things. Robotic tofu maker. So maybe Conrad needs to check out this as well if he comes around. But out of all the coolness and flash, I think this was a cool one because it's in science. So what this guy does, let me turn down the volume because you just can't hear it very well anyway. So
Max is one of the coolest machines I've ever seen, and definitely the world's coolest 7-Eleven located.
So is it 7-Eleven? Yeah, it's a Coke machine. So they make Coke slushies on the fly. You get a Coke, you see it's not slushy, you put the chill on it.
But here's the thing, as you can see, it's not.
It's still there.
Well, just what? So open it up.
Because you open it up, and due to Bohr's law, when you release the pressure of a thing, it chills it, and that chilling effect chills it just under the freezing point, so it freezes the whole Coke all the way down. I thought that was really cool. And there's some other things in there where they're making coffee things and all that kind of stuff too. But I just don't want to take up a lot of time showing the whole video. But I wanted to say that was cool. And the fact that they were using that, the fact that they were using that principle to do that, and they found they could do it regularly and repeatedly enough to make a machine. I found that I found that very interesting. You know, here we'll look at the last two here.
It truly reaches new heights with not only being a drinks machine.
Oh yeah, this is cool too. So you have this AI bartender. So he's talking to it, going, "Oh, I like this. I don't like this. I don't like the other thing." Here, let's see if you hear it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Cecilia. But what's on?
and I'll be your bartender for today. So, what can I get you, Murray? I won't judge you for drinking before 9 a.m.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Cecilia. But what's on the menu today?
I'll be making you Bacardi's top picks: Gin Gimlet, Bay Breeze, the Sun Blazer, and the Black Cherry Margarita.
I'd love your recommendation for maybe a fruity cocktail.
It's the perfect time for a fruity cocktail. Looks like someone found the true meaning of good morning.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, thank you again, Cecilia.
Anyway, if I were you, I would go with the Sun Blazer.
Okay, that's the one I'll go with. Thank you, Cecilia.
The Blazer is ready.
Thank you so much for this drink, Cecilia. And for number one, it was honestly tough to choose. As there's, of course, the Big Mac ATM, the iPhone claw machines, and of course the Hypebeast machine. But we have something that seems like out of a sci-fi movie of a fully autonomous robot Pizza Hut. Being in this container-like restaurant with the ordering being done from your phone, and having over 100 robots making your food to order, which you can then pick up via the takeout box. Becoming your favorite vending machine, and I'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, watch out for the one with the guillotine on it. You know.
Yeah, watch out for the guillotine one, right? And so I thought that was pretty cool on that whole thing, and that's what I had to share today on the thing. And they got a bunch of, I think it's like 23 different things.
This is a story about a magical place.
Shut up. Thank you. And some of them are cooler. In fact, some of them, I forgot what they were making. They were making something. It was either pizza or something. And it has, the robots know they're making an entertainment version of this thing. So as the robots are waiting for the pizza to get done or the thing to get going, or to entice you to come over to buy a pizza, they have I think they got music on. I couldn't hear it, but because he was talking. But if they didn't have music going on with this, it's just stupid. Is that they're all dancing around and having a little party in there, waiting for you to order a pizza before they get up and go and do that. I thought it was really cool. I mean, there's, you skip through the video. See if I can get one.
Yeah, I wondered if the AI bartender hands you an AA card if you order a drink before noon or something. You know.
Yeah, that one seemed, she was a little sassy or something.
You could use this, I think.
And then there were some other things with photo printing and other stuff and that sort of thing. Like that KLC claw machine was a little weird. Bubble tea, and I don't care about karaoke vending machines. You've got literally any kind of popcorn you can deal with there. And, I thought it was pretty cool. Lots of robots in here doing lots of vending and that sort of thing, like quick chat.
Where everything's amazing.
Yeah,
especially the people. We can.
Popcorn vending machine. Just take a look at all these flavors. You have barbecue, butter caramel, cheese, cocoa malt curry, flossy salted egg, and the list just goes on and on. So definitely got to go with a spicy cuttlefish, and I could not be more excited to see what these taste like.
I don't know what a spicy cuttlefish popcorn thing tastes like, but I would give it a try. But he's got a bunch of videos in there. He's got a bunch of different vending machines across the way. Thought it was fun. Figured I could share. That's about all I got. Nothing too excited.
Cool.
At least not this week, anyways.
All right. That's all right. And hopefully
you weren't even watching that. I didn't have it up on the screen. Oh my word. Lord. I'm just not all here tonight.
No worries.
I'm recovering.
Next in queue, I think we had Michael.
Yeah, I like I said, I need somebody to stream the YouTube link I'm fixing to post here. And what it is, it's a blooper of mine. So I just wanted to see y'all, want y'all to see my blooper. So it's only about a minute and a half. So, somebody with some good bandwidth that could go ahead and stream that. I just posted it.
You want me to do it, guys? I'll get it.
Sure.
Okay, give me just a moment to queue it up on the proper
Probably
display.
my bandwidth is better than yours, Michael. I said probably my bandwidth is no better than yours. So.
No, mine really, it's pretty bad.
And I just don't know if the audio, hopefully the audio will come through. Somebody shout out if the audio doesn't come through, but here we go. Share. And I'm presenting. Okay, we're going to give this a shot. Here we go.
No audio.
Yeah, no audio.
Well, that's no help then. How about, Michael, if I show it and you just talk to it while the video's going, does that work?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to just keep going. You can read. Don't worry at all about what it's saying and just say whatever you want to say over top
all
of
it. All right. So here it is. I put some, there's a little stuffed bean bag on there, animal on the claw. I put some weight on it. I've got a motor I've got a swiveling, and I've got the gear ratio running right. So I'm gonna show you the gear ratio, how it works, and with the weight on the claw. So I've got a new motor on there. Okay, I'm gonna move that lamp out of the way a little bit. Wait for it. Then my gear falls off. But you got to really listen to my comments when it happens. So I cracked everybody up at work. But anyway, I'm trying to demo it and the gear falls off. So that's my blooper.
Demo effect.
Yeah. So anyway, I did another one if y'all want to. Anyway, I put a bigger motor on there up there at the top, and I can show it. I can show it to you. I was showing it to you last time. It's this size. It's this guy right here. Okay, that's about it. I can go ahead and demo. I'll show you this.
All right.
That's all I wanted to show you.
That's pretty cool. That's a start, right? That's a start.
Pretty funny. I mean, the blooper. If y'all go to that link and watch it, it's kind of funny with sound because they go, "Oh, I guess I'm gonna have to work on the gears." You know. So.
Excellent.
So anyway, I put a big old motor on there, and I showed you all this the other day. So it's held on like I'm getting one. I'm gearing it down. Actually, this has got like a maximum of 85 RPMs. I'm gearing it down to 20. And here's a holder for it. Kind of broke here a little bit, but the holder holds it in there, and then it goes. It's held up there at the top. Anyway, I'm not even gonna use an encoder. I don't need an encoder. I'm just gonna be using limit switches. So that's all I got. That's it. We can move on now.
Star-worthy, very nice, and the bloopers. Excellent. Well, thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
I think next we had Ray.
Okay, I got this RF module in. It's it's based on the SIM 7080, and it's like soup to nuts. It's got an ESP32 on it. It's got a connector for a camera if you want to hook it up. It's got a socket for a TF card. Almost all the SIMs now also have GPS. I got that to work, and I'm using an antenna that I got from Tanner's a long time ago. It's got much higher gain than this little one that it came with. Anyway, I was able to send a text. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's probably way too bright.
There you go.
Yep. Oop, upside down.
That's right up for us.
Anyway, that's the let's see, the 8601, I think, is the Yeah, that's the IMEI number that each module has. So it's kind of like an individual number. I was trying to think what other things. You can hook up a solar panel to it. It's got a socket on the back for an 18650. So that's kind of nice. It's got a power switch, which is really pretty handy. All that stuff's built in. You really don't have to add anything to it. It's got a power management unit that you can put the thing in a super low power mode if you want and wake up on like an interrupt, an interrupt into the ESP32. What else? I was looking, I used the Tiny GSM library, which it's pretty good. He set up code so you could send a text, but I guess he didn't want to get into parsing received text. So his Tiny GSM doesn't support receiving text. So, Adafruit made a package that you could basically look for certain text strings in a message, and then do something if you got that. And one of the other things that you can do is you can select which phone numbers you want to receive text from. So if anybody sends you a text, if it's not on your approved number list, you can just, delete it, basically, get rid of it. So it's kind of nice. They're, I think, like $36. It's pretty amazing. All the things that are on it, it's pretty much completely integrated. Everything is still, AT commands into the module. You send it, the SIM 780G AT commands through a serial port, basically. This one supports GSM, GPRS, and LTE, and the band that works in my area, it's actually, I think, band 12, and it is
1700 or 700, I think.
Yeah, it looks like 700 megahertz. Anyway, so that's what I can use in my area. I haven't done, at this point, beyond sending texts and that kind of stuff, I actually wanted to hook it up to I've got a 4-camera security system or whatever, video recorder. And I just wanted to be able to send snapshots of that over. So that's like a multimedia message, not an SMS. And at this point, I'm just starting to get into it. I've never tried to do it, and hope to be able to do that. So I could, remotely, say send a text, say, send me an MPEG file of, what the camera saw, and then it basically send a text or use one of the other methods to send that image, but haven't done any of that stuff yet. So, but pretty impressive stuff, I thought. Pretty impressive module.
For $36, add an antenna and a battery. That's remarkable. Yeah.
It seems like there's cheaper plans out there. I think right now I'm paying $5 a month for 300 megabytes, and it's extra after that. But sending text, it's it's a string of bytes basically. Not unless you're sending a book.
A couple hundred
300
bytes.
megabytes is kind of going to be an awful lot of texting or messaging. So
you're just planning to use the SMS. You're not planning. Are you planning to set up like a COM port or sockets or anything like that?
I don't know if basically I'm just getting into this one. The other one, I could send SMSs. As far as I know, I couldn't. There didn't seem to be any means to attach photos, to them. That was the SIM 800L. That one didn't even have GPS. It seems like all the other modules after that have GPS now. So I know there's several different methods that you can use to do that. MQTT.
But you're not. It sounds like you're not going to open a serial connection of any kind and just have this because those I think are where you might start to burn through the data quickly. If you open the port and let it run. Yeah.
I don't know if what's involved I kind of want the simplest method to send, basically an MPEG file, a small MPEG file. And I don't know, probably other ones do the same thing, but they show all 4 camera images in as an option in one frame, or you can look at individual frames if you want to. But it's been kind of neat. I think the stuff from Random Nerd Tutorials was much better than what Liligo, the company that manufactured the module, provided. I mean, their stuff kind of worked, but the Tiny GSM library worked. It was much easier to use. And it's an older library too. It's it hasn't been updated in a while, but still it worked pretty good. So anyway, that's all I had.
Hey Ray, can you put a link to that board?
Sure. Come on, Amazon. Here we go. Copy. Anyway, there it is. That was on Amazon. It was actually $31.50. I don't remember paying $8.50 for delivery. I thought it was less than that. So, but I have to look on my Amazon account. Maybe it was more. And Amazon was, well, you could get it from Banggood, but Banggood did the delivery was longer. So that's why I went with Amazon. Anyway.
It has CAN bus on there, so you can, a little bit of work, you could make that be the heart of your robot, and it'd be very connected, wouldn't it?
Yep.
Yeah,
I didn't see that it had CAN bus on it. Seriously?
According to Amazon, fount of all knowledge.
Hmm.
I squared C, SPY, UART, STIO.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Didn't I just see a board being announced by Adafruit that had CAN bus right on it? Maybe not. Maybe it wasn't Adafruit. There's something come across my feed. I said, "Ooh, CAN bus." I know a couple of people who might like that.
Yeah. Huh.
Hmm.
That's pretty cool, Ray. Yeah, it'd be fun to see what you do with this.
Yeah, it's I could actually, it's basically going to be the board that I replaced the Sim 800L with, and I'm going to try to build my security system back up. So, because I think I had a lightning strike, and it fried an Uno, a Mega, and it either fried the Sim 800L or all those messages that I've been getting from T-Mobile saying they're working on the tower that I connect to. They got rid of 2G finally or something. So I actually bought a new Sim 800L and tried to check it out, and it wouldn't connect either. So I'm assuming they finally got rid of 2G out here. So anyway.
Well, cool, right? I think next in queue we had Doug, and then John, then open mic. So, Doug, how's it going with you this week?
Okay, let me go ahead and pin me because I'll be showing things through it. Okay. I've got two things. One is just something that crossed my feed that I wanted to make sure everybody saw. But I have one thing that I finally moved, and this is a big one for me. You see this? This is 3mm aluminum, and that is stuff that I've milled. So these are 1.5 mil pockets, and this is V-groove text. And no chattering on I believe I can push this. Right now I'm doing a feed rate of 125 millimeters per minute, I think it is, and 0.2 millimeter depth. But I believe that I can, like I said, I had no problem doing this. So the problem is I don't want to break the bit because the bit's a one flute silicon carbide bit, and it costs about $20. So I'm sneaking up on stuff. And anyway, like I say, I'm hoping to get up to 200 millimeters per minute at 0.4 depth, but we'll see how far I can get on that. That's kind of my goal. And so, like I say, it was no chatter. Everything was working great. And I had a weird, a weird bug that I don't quite understand yet that I'm going to try to have to figure out. Whenever I found to make it work, I had to isolate the piece of aluminum from the frame. So when the thing came down and touched and did its, was doing its pocket, over here I had a clamp, and over here I had a clamp, but I had a piece of cardboard underneath the clamp. So I don't know, there's some sort of weird loop going on that I'm trying to...
You're talking about electrical isolation?
I'm assuming...
You're muted, Doug.
Did I mute the wrong person? I tried to mute.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. All right.
Sorry,
you see here, there's a defect up here, and here you can see a little circle. Mm-hmm. What I was finding was that every time the bit would actually touch the aluminum, it would turn off. And I was trying to figure out, was it some sort of something to do with the probe? You know, you do that on purpose to find zero of your surface. But so all I did was put a piece of cardboard on the clamps underneath, so that so now when this guy was touching, he wasn't completing a path through the clamp and down to the frame.
Do you have like a common ground on the frame or something?
Actually, I don't think so, Ray. That's what's even more weird. I've been trying to figure out ground on this system. And like the controller board appears to be self-contained or otherwise floating from everything else. Yeah. And the router is basically self-contained and floating from everything else. So there's some sort of weird feedback loop going through the frame. It's easy to solve. I mean, it works. You know, I'm just surprised. I mean, I keep learning things. So anyway,
do you think one of your power supplies is grounded to like the case or something?
As far as I know, no. Okay. The case, as far as I know, has no electrical connection to it at all. So like if you're, it's such a simple fix that, and the results were so good. I mean, I don't know if you can really see, I can't seem to get how nice that, you always see this sort of like pattern in the bottom, but that is, we're talking, less than a mil type stuff. It's close to a polish. And this over here, I used easel for this one. And so that's kind of a carved thing. So anyway, the finish on this is just way better than I expected. And some of it, I think, is because if you look at it, the X and Y axes are dimensionally exchanged from the typical machine you see on Amazon or eBay or everything. The ones they usually call you have a 3018. Well, this is actually an 1830. So where the strength is needed is in the spindle and the Z-axis. And because it's shorter and these rods are beefed up, it's just a nicer machine. Anyway, I'm very pleased with the results. So that means I have, that means I have a capability now that I didn't have before. So now I've got a laser cutter and a router that does aluminum. So I feel, I always had a small shoreline mill, but the router can do plates so much better than a shoreline mill. Shoreline mill is great if you want a piece that's like 2x4, okay? But this one, if you want to do something that's 6x8 or 6x9, you can do it without too much problem. So anyway, step forward. Now, the second thing I wanted to show or share.
Before you jump that though, what mill are you using? What router? I'm curious which one of those.
This one has a 500 watt spindle on it. It's a 500
I assume it's a CNC table.
Huh?
It's a CNC table. So where's what brand? Yeah.
What is the brand?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's a it's a Comgrow. Unfortunately, Comgrow has stopped producing this guy. I don't know why. Maybe it was too expensive to make. I mean, it's much superior than the ones that you can buy, unless you start dumping lots of cash. Now, I have watched a lot of videos, and some people, some of the machines now, they'll be called 3018 Pro Pro something or others, or why they.
So it's not the Scirocco.
Yeah.
Or, in other words.
No, it's not a Scirocco. But the real trick is, see these. A lot of people replace these rods with linear rails, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a great idea. But the problem with a lot of machines are these rods are 12
millimeter. Yeah, like half inch.
No, I want to say they're 10 millimeter.
Oh.
And these, whatever these are, they're beefed up from that.
Mm.
Okay.
Oh, those are 16.
So these might be these. I don't think they're. I think these are 12s. Okay. So they went from a 10 to a 12, and it makes a big difference. And like I say, the shorter x-axis also makes a difference because you're not trying to, if you have, think of it, if you have 10 millimeter rods and they're twice as long, they're just going to have too much flex. So this thing works really well, and that's because the distance from here to here is really, I'm not sure what the usable space is, but the distance on the table is 240 millimeters. So it's probably about 200 millimeters usable. You do lose some of the y-axis because this guy sticks out farther than the original one. But yeah, this is really nice. And like I say, I'm real excited. Now, a lot of people are using the Makita router, which is a 1.25 horsepower router. So like this is 500, so that's equivalent to about 3/4 of a horsepower. So you add another half horsepower on top of this, plus the speed is they can turn at 30,000 RPMs, and this guy only turns at 12,000. So in theory, I could get a further upgrade by going to a Makita, but if I can tweak this in to do 0.3 or 0.4 depth and 200 millimeters, I'll be totally happy with this. That's fine for my use. And even at 125 and 0.2, it's not horrible. And the nice thing about it is it makes chips. It doesn't make dust. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of cool. So anyway, big step forward for me on my
giant step for machining kind.
Yeah,
Are you using lubricant?
Not now, but that's because I'm doing it in this room I bring in my shop vac and do it in here. Mm-hmm. So if it could easily become Glitter City.
Yep.
So one of the things that I'm planning on to do, Kareem, is deciding on whether or not I'm going to build an enclosure. Okay, I have a table that's just barely fits this, and I could put a board on top of it, make it maybe just 1 or 2 inches more. And one of the potential upgrades that I might do is I might go down to Home Depot and buy a 18 by 18 inch cement paver, okay, and then use a paving saw, cut it down to the right size, and drill some holes to give the base a little extra, beef. I don't know if that's really necessary yet, but that's one of my. If it doesn't do what I want to do that's how I'm going to go. And I don't mind going to the Makita router if I have to. I mean, that seems to be where all the people on YouTube are eventually ending up. Otherwise, they all make this step. Little anemic 75 watt stock drill motor up to a 500 watt spindle to a Makita router. That seems to be the progression everybody makes. So,
or they go to a real spindle.
Yeah, or they go to, yes, you're right, a water-cooled voltage frequency controlled spindle.
Yeah,
and that's not bad. That's a good idea. But we're talking about a machine that cost me a shy of, it was like $180, I think. So, I'm not trying.
Pretty good to get that cutting aluminum that well.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And so that's why I'm totally pleased with it. And I think I just lucked out because they only made this model for a short period of time. And I saw a YouTube video by Quora. It's a young Chinese teenager, and she does videos, and she's really good at it. Her brother's supposed to help her out, but she's the star. And she went through this and said, what she did, and I said, well, that sounds intriguing, and I liked the ideas that she was talking about. So I went ahead and ordered it immediately. And
are you talking about Aurora Tech?
Yeah, Aurora Tech. Yeah, Aurora Tech.
That's great videos.
Yeah, she does a good job. Anyway, so that was that. Now I want to show you guys something else. I'm gonna probably this came across my desk today, or not today, but this week. I'm not sure. I thought that was it.
Yeah, Doug, I remember the first time cutting aluminum. If you cut it too slow, with the spindle speed too slow, it would actually like gall the aluminum, and so you had to crank the speed way up, and then it's like, you can crank the feed up as well, and then so the thing is actually, it's like making a buzzing noise when the flutes are cutting. It's like buzz, when large chips are coming off it.
Well, one of the things that I did find, Ray, and you might find this on yours too, the router bit that I'm using, I'm real impressed with it. It's a single flute carbide bit, and it has one of the blue nano composite coatings on it to help with friction and things. So, but it just son of a gun through this stuff. And and if you listen to enough YouTube videos, you'll see that too. A lot of them are using single flute because it's really good for acrylic and aluminum, which are gummy materials.
Yeah.
And it clears chips better. And that might be part of the reason why I'm getting away without using a lubricant. Okay. I'll find the link for that bit and put it in the post.
Is that like an 1/8 of an inch bit?
This one is a 1/4 inch. One I used was a 1/4 inch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I used a 1/4 inch. When I had the option of picking the spindle, I picked it comes in the ER11 or ER16. And because I wanted to be able to make sure that I could do a 1/2 inch if I had to, because my spoil board cutter and a few other are 1/2 inch. So I went with the ER16. So.
Yeah, I was just using the Harbor Freight. I think it was, it's high-speed steel. There were 3 bits in the set. I think a 1/2, I want to say a 1/4, and a 3/8, 2 flutes, no coating.
Yeah.
And it worked pretty good. So
yeah. And one of the ones another mainstay that I'm using is, just because I happen to have it, is a 3/16 bit. See, the problem with a 1/4 inch bit is it's amazing how many things you make are a 1/4 inch, and you don't want your slots and stuff to be the same size as your end mill. You want your end mill to be smaller than what you're trying to cut, so that it can do a little bit of, it can not try to do it all in one pass. So, anyway, so there's a couple of, that one is another one that I've used. I've used it mainly on my Shoreline. But anyway, let me show you this, because it's a little pricey, but you know, did you guys see this? Are you seeing a smartphone GNSS combo breakout? You're not.
You're not.
Nope. Can't share. Sorry. Error. Okay. Let me one more time, and if it doesn't work,
it's giving you the sorry, Hal. I can't do that.
Yeah.
Or no, sorry, Dave. I guess. Sorry, Dave.
Okay.
Do that.
Well, I'm going to try the entire screen. Okay. See if it'll share that. Okay, here we go. Now, do you see it?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know, but
expensive.
It's expensive, but they're saying that this is almost RTK without RTK.
It's got an F9P in it. That's RTK.
Well, I'm just saying, it's saying you don't need to use RTK.
Or it's got that capability.
Let me read it if I can see if I can find it. Maybe I read it wrong. It says if you have the clear view of the sky specifically to the south, this combination will deliver centimeter accuracy position without needing separate RTK or T-trip corrections.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I don't know how expensive an RTK board is, and I don't know if this thing is
about $250.
Yeah, but I mean
they do require a correction source.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is the other module a cell phone module then, or what is it?
No, one of them. There are two U-Blot GNSs, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Now, how they exactly work, I think one is meant to be in cars, and it might have an IMU in it. I don't know. You'd have to look it up.
They have a separate product line that integrates an IMU for corrections during going through tunnels and things like that, and through high-rise canyons and such. But that's usually sold as like an alternative module. This is what I can't really read the details on this.
You want me to post the link?
I know that uBlocks was also going through. They offer services of correction through their satellite networks, and maybe that's what this is. The question is, do you have to sign up for a data service or not?
Let's see.
I'm thinking that's what this is.
Well, they're not saying it.
What is the name of that second? Neo 9 D9S.
Yeah, they're saying it's a satellite data receiver for the N-band correction broadcast.
Yeah, so you got to sign up for their service. They've been actually charging me for it because I signed up for it on a trial basis, and they were good about once I pointed out that I didn't actually ever connect a device to it, so they got rid of the charges. But they're trying to get into internet. IoT kind of services, and so one of the things that they sell is direct access to their satellite correction sources. So yeah, you can get it through the same antenna, but you still have to pay a fee for access to the data. But it means you can get it anywhere without having to worry about extra setup.
Yeah. Anyway, I saw this and I said, this looks interesting. Like I say, it's a little pricey.
Yep.
But if you're going RTK, that figure RTK is kind of pricey. So anyway, I just thought that this is the newest one that I've seen, and I thought I'd share.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if I can get that link.
Yike.
Did somebody get it?
I got you covered.
Okay.
As
You
well
already
as
got it?
I found a link for the Point Perfect service.
Yeah, that's it. Point Perfect.
Which appears to be required for it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely required, but you don't have to have a different communication source because it'll work with the same antenna that you're getting GPS over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It also looks like through that thing they might support MQTT messages.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do.
Do you know if it's bi-directional or is it just one way?
I believe it's one way for the correction signals.
I see.
It's receive only. Not 100% sure, but I believe so. It's a very specific use case.
It shows that they can send and receive messages via the ThingStream broker using any SIM card. Huh.
Well, that's a separate, right? So ThingStream is
I see.
Different from Point Perfect.
I see. Okay.
And so that's their IoT play. But yeah, that requires a totally different. That requires cell phone connection basically, and different hardware.
So this is something Ray could use with his module if he really wanted, potentially.
Yep. Huh. Wow. At some point, I think they were trying to use GSM for positioning. It had to do with the locations of the cell towers and received signal strength.
There's AGPS. So when I left Nokia, and for some years after at least, I would guess still today as well, cell phone chipsets have built into them a facility that is called Network Assisted GPS. So not only do they have the ability to just use the raw GPS receiver if you get line of sight to a few satellites, but it also takes advantage of what you said, triangulation with adjacent or cell towers that are in sight.
Yeah.
And they have some kind of algorithm that's baked into the chipset that can dramatically improve the time to first fix and the accuracy, the location accuracy. And that's why if you happen to look at the GPS, the location performance of the phones when I was still Nokia in the early 2000s, and compare that to the accuracy today, I mean, the accuracy today is just ridiculous. It gets me pretty close to the right room of the house, inside the house, right? Whereas back in the day, you were lucky to get 30 feet, 100 feet. And it had to be outdoors. It wouldn't work in urban canyons and...
Oh God, I think it was Garmin that we went to. They were showing like some of the first GPS systems, and you knew you're on a road because you weren't driving off road. So the mapping, there was kind of a logic there to say, okay, most likely it says I'm
snap to the road, yeah,
off in the weeds, but Foink, I actually should be here, or most likely that's where I am. And it would spend, I think, half the time in the weeds and half the time on the road. It's kind of like beep, beep, back and forth.
Y'all hear me or okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I crappie fish for a hobby, and crappie fish out in the lakes on a boat. You have to find structure, underwater structure. They call them brush piles or crappie condos where people make. Anyway, you got to go find structure because crappie love to hang around underwater structure. So we've got they got GPS trolling motors now.
Jesus.
And and I'm telling you what, man, they call what's called spot lock or electronic anchoring. You can go to that spot or save it. It'll take you back. I watch you guys out there with your GPSs on the competitions and stuff, but man, they got it down with those trolling motors. You're out there, that you can lock down on the spot and it'll hold you within a 5-foot radius. I mean, the wind blowing, the wind picks up, the wind stops, and the algorithm in that thing it holds you. If you want to move over 5 foot, you click to the left, right, or forward, or reverse on your remote. You got a remote tethered to your around your neck, and it's amazing, man. And it's also, I don't know if anybody on here have messed with those, but they're amazing. They revolutionized lake fishing because you lock down on a spot. You don't even think about it. It's like fishing off a pier. You don't think about it. When in the old days, you had to constantly mess with your trolling motor to keep it on the spot. Also, they've got what they call compass navigation, where it reads you point your trolling motor at a point out there in the ways away, and you just locks in, and you don't have to steer. It's cruise control for your trolling motor. You don't have to. You can take a nap almost. I mean, you can do stuff while that trolling motor's headed to a destination. You might have to tweak it a little bit to the left or right every now and then, but man, it just heads off. If anybody's ever operated a trolling motor manually to try to keep it in one direction, it's a headache. Yeah. So these new ones, man, they're unbelievable.
The fish don't have a chance anymore, I don't think.
No, they don't. But too bad. That's so sad.
Yeah, with side sonar too. I mean,
I have that.
I mean, that is incredible. When you're looking at the bottom, I mean, it's like you're down there with, at the bottom looking sideways.
I've got that. They've got what they call live scope, and I have that too. Yeah. I'm like a lot of you guys. I like gizmos and gadgets, and that they've got that live scope, which is live sonar. Most sonars you watch, you pass over an object and you're seeing the history of it because it takes the slices. But this is, you watch, you talk about them fish not having a chance. You can watch them bite your hook now. So,
oh God!
Yeah. Go to YouTube and type in live scope. Garmin makes the best one out there. Garmin live scope. You can see some of the stuff. It's wild.
Yeah.
So,
they're pricey though.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's one of those things that is really worth getting, because in the long run, you save time and everything. It just makes everything more successful.
If that's your passion, man, that's worth getting. And I go out there, even in the weather right now, I go out there in the morning between. I'll get on the water between 6:30 and I'm off the water at 12 before it gets too crazy hot. And I go out there all the time. So
that's cool.
I got a few fishing spots, and I mean, rain or shine, the weather's not a problem. I always catch whatever I want. So thank you to Plum Sprouts and Kroger. No fancy equipment. Yep.
I know. But you got to have a fancy credit card.
Well, yeah.
Costs less than that trolling motor.
GPS trolling motor with this full color live sonar.
Wow.
Last time I went fishing, it was it was the husband of a friend of my first wife's. So we got up like at 4 o'clock in the morning, take this boat to a lake somewhere near Granbury, I think is where it was. And he actually had a gas pedal, and he had it was like a metal hook, so he could, stick his shoe in there, and it wouldn't, when you hit the waves, you wouldn't come off the gas pedal, so you could keep it down. And it seemed like he had two modes, using the trolling motor with the main motor off, or using that thing with it down to the floor. So, we're hitting waves and water's like coming over the windshield and, smacking us in the face, and it's freezing cold, and it's like, okay, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, one of these days I'm going to have to talk Mike into taking me fishing because I don't have a boat. And, yeah.
I'm fishing right now, Lake Arlington. I live about 10 minutes from Lake Arlington, 5 to 10 minutes. And it's 6 foot low right now because of our drought. And I can't fish it because all my fishing spots are
up in the air.
I have to go find more. Yeah, they're up in the air. So I've been fishing Lake Waxahachie right now, and it's really fun. I've never been there. So this summer I'm driving over to Lake Waxahachie, which is about 40 minutes. But I put you on them crappie, man. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah, I think this guy's motor on his boat was, I think, maybe twice the horsepower of my car at the time. It was like a V6. I want to say it was 250 horsepower. So
that's pretty big.
Thing went like a bat out of hell.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like the first time I went. Okay, I learned to ski in Vermont behind a 12-foot aluminum craft motor with probably a 15 horsepower motor. And the only reason we got out of the water was because I weighed 80 pounds. Okay. And so then I went with a friend of mine down in Charlotte, and his dad, he owned a big speedboat. And I swear, he snatched us out of the water so fast. And I mean, I think I was actually foiling up above the water. And it was great until you fell. And when you fell, it was like you one of these things you see where the skidoo goes over, you go all the way across the water. It was horrible. But anyway,
you painfully skip across the water with your body.
I'm body surfing. Yeah.
As simple as it was, as soon as that stopped, it goes, you probably went again.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't want to be a wimp, Harold. You couldn't just say, oh, I don't know if I really like this.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I think that was the last time I went skiing, though. I can't say it wasn't fun. But it was painful when you fell.
Yeah. I don't think it's there anymore, but there used to be a power plant in Capel, and North Lake, I think, is what it was. All gone now, as far as I know. Anyway, yeah, my next door neighbor took us water skiing, and he would. There were a lot of like coves in that lake, and he'd zip around and do a really fast turn, and you'd zip across the wake of the boat, and it's like barely hang on to the to the thing. And I think his main idea was to try to bounce me off the water. So
well, I'm sure there's places you can ski, but but there's so many places that have where I go is usually for fishing, and it's all got stumps and stuff. In fact, you got to worry you can't go real fast or you'll punch a hole in the bottom of your boat. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say it was Lake Granbury was like that. There were, you could tell that it was an area that was filled in because there was all kinds of, tree limbs sticking basically dead out of the water. And but yeah. Well, I don't know how much he had invested in that boat. He had, I had my little cheapy Walmart, rod and rail, and I want to say it was a Garcia.
Garcia.
Yeah. He had, like 6 of those with, box after box of lures, of different types.
Yeah.
And, we rail fishermen don't use bait, they use lures.
That's true. Except when they want to use bait.
When
I mean,
then they won't want to catch fish.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's really that was that. When I was learning how to fish here in Texas. Now I fished I fished brookies in Vermont, and then I'd panfish all over the place. But when I came here, it wasn't. I didn't really get to start to be a good fisherman until I started using artificial bait. Okay. Now, when I go out now, I have a lot of fun if I take minnows or worms. I just enjoy it. Mm-hmm. But if you really want to learn how to fish, really the intricacies of it, then you're probably going to end up having to learn how to handle the artificial baits, which are really, there's so many different types of artificial baits. Each one's a different style. But anyway, let's get back to robots.
Well, one more thing. I just posted if anybody's got some time to kill and they're real bored, I posted a video I made on crappie fishing on Lake Arlington.
Okay.
7 years ago. And you can just fast forward through it and just watch about 2 minutes. And it's all fishing with minnows.
Yeah.
It's all minnows.
Hard to beat minnows.
So, there you go. Anybody wanted to see me? And it's got that anchor lock on there that I talked about a little bit. But
okay. Cool.
Anyway, if you're interested, I posted it on there.
Yep.
If you're real bored, go ahead.
Okay. I'll watch it, Mike, for sure.
That's cool. All right.
Okay.
I think next in queue we had John K. Then we had Open Mike. So John K., what's up?
Okay. Nothing much other than I was in the process of looking at ARM and that. So in the process of doing that, I found this again. So I'll present this. Give me two choices. I guess that's the one we want. Which one is that? So I don't really know which one offhand I'm sharing, but okay.
Still on your call?
Yeah.
That. So there's this real tic-tac thing because it has an arm. So, yeah, I thought I was sharing. Okay. So, yeah, so if you're wanting to build a little arm thing, I thought I could click on the video part of it, but I don't see it change.
Does it write like foul mouth to,
no, it does.
or something, or what?
Okay, I'm not. Let me share a different window. Okay.
Plot clock.
Oh. 1%. Present a window. Why am I not seeing? Oh, there we go. Share that window.
Turns on and tells you when to get out of bed, maybe.
So here's a nice little nifty little arm one if you want to build and press and go on thing reverse. So it'll do well.
Tic-tac-toe.
Tic-tac-toe. So I built that one a couple years back where it did the time, where it will write the time, but this one actually does tic-tac-toe. So it looks pretty neat. So who knows? Or maybe I'll revamp it.
So I'm assuming it has a camera then?
I will have to look at the instructables, which I close the process of getting this video. I'm thinking though that it uses the real monitor.
Camera if it is using one.
The human totally threw the game.
Well, you know how those things can be rigged, especially tic-tac-toe for the first move. If you get the center, but
there's no way to win tic-tac-toe.
That's what I have for tonight.
All right. That's cool. Nice find. It looks like the playbotics.com blog is offline, so you might have to do some research to find the full documentation, but cool to watch.
Well, as I said, it was on Thingiverse. So if you type search, you'll see the actual STL files and that for it.
All right. All right. Well, that's all that we had in queue. So that takes us to open mic time.
Didn't we just have open mic?
I think this whole meeting has been open mic.
Felt like an hour of fishing.
Oh, there we go, Jim. Thank you for that.
Talk about like Evan Rude versus Mercury versus Yamaha yet?
Yeah. All right. We say we're off in the weeds, but what's the fishing equivalent of that? I don't know.
Proportional differential, I think. You know.
All right. I'm afraid I don't have anything else to add unless you guys want to hear stories of the engine pull. But all right. Well, if there's nothing else, shall we move to adjourn and think and dream and actually do robots this next week and come back Tuesday?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Have a good week. Take care now.
Thank you.
Bye.